Who wants bigger guests for their podcasts? Me too. Do you have that dream guest? Let's see if we can get you there. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Andy Wang, host of the Inspired Money Podcast. I have a blog and newsletter called Podcast Gym, and I co-host the Asian American Podcasters Association podcast. The plan for this talk is to help you land bigger and better guests for your show. I'm going to share tactics that have worked for me. Let's get started. My personal finance podcast is called Inspired Money. It's positive money stories from inspiring people. And while my attitude is that I'll talk to anyone because we all deal with money, it's important to write down your goals. I want you to do that today. Set that simple goal, and we'll keep it easy. Write just 10 guests that you want to book. Make it a mix of those that you think are possible, and then include, let's say, 4 long shots in there. So 6 that you think are within reach, and then 4 long shots. I love the idea of writing down your goals and then review them every day. Stare at this list enough times, and your subconscious mind cannot help but to begin strategizing ways to make it happen. For my show, I've had the privilege of interviewing Mark Victor Hansen. He's the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Katie Cassidy, she played Laurel Land's Black Canary on the TV series Arrow. Screenwriter of Ready Player One, Zach Penn. Colt Cabana, a former WWE wrestler. Silicon Valley investor, Guy Kawasaki. That's just to name a few. So hopefully there are some names in there that you recognize. And if you're starting from scratch, this session's for you. If I can do it from scratch, you can too. Let me start by saying that this is not a get rich quick scheme. It's not 6-minute abs. Let's start by getting into the right mindset. I want you to set a goal of failing 100 times this year. You break that into smaller chunks of 3 months. That means that you want 25 no's every quarter. And it's harder than you think. Pitching often gets no response at all, and those don't count. Gamifying this process encourages me to pitch more often and to reach higher. I think it can help you too. I want you to build a process and commit to it. Normally, when I'm reaching out to invite someone on my show, I send a concise invite that includes a link to a landing page. That page has details about my show, highlights a few previous guests by name, helps to do a little name dropping, and also it has a booking link. This is a super efficient way to do this, and it works well. I email out invites when people accept. It automatically books a time on my calendar and emails a confirmation with a link to the recording session. I love getting those emails with automatic bookings on my Outlook calendar. And surprisingly, I also like getting the no's because I'm trying to get to the 100. I'm trying to get 100 of them. Today, I'm going to give you 6 tactics for booking bigger guests. Remember, you're committing to a process that takes time. So this will likely be your path. You'll score a guest, you'll get some no's, you'll never know who will accept. It's totally random. It's like a board game. Sometimes you skip ahead, other times you lose a turn. The important thing is to keep playing. Don't take the no's personally. There are many variables that are outside of your control. Sometimes your potential guest is just too busy. Accept the no and move on. If the guest is really important to you, you can keep a tickler file to remind yourself to reach out again at a later date. You're building a guest booking process. Land one guest who is more visible, and it's likely to lead to more visible guests. One celebrity can lead to another. If you're in a niche, one thought leader in your niche is likely to lead to many more thought leaders in your space. So, tactic number 1, start with your own circle. See who among your connections are good potential guests. Look first at your family and friends. Who do you know? You can use Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Leverage your personal and professional network. Think about 6 degrees of separation. Ask for introductions. For me, I interviewed a retired Episcopal bishop, an executive director of a 60-year-old nonprofit that has ties to Eleanor Roosevelt, the Dalai Lama, and the Pope. My first guest was Jim Kimo West, longtime guitarist for Weird Al Yankovic. He just happens to be a friend. You don't need to be friends with somebody who knows Weird Al. It just takes some time to really put yourself out there and start letting your friends and people, your connections, know that you're looking for guests, and you start getting recommendations and introductions. Number two, if you're too shy to ask your own network, you don't want to let people know that you have a podcast yet, maybe something like that, try podmatch.com. It's great for finding guests. Whether your show just launched or you're nearly 5 years in like me, I've booked great guests on Podmatch. It's super easy. So I'm always looking around at who I know, ask friends, I check Podmatch, and always send invitations out. Tactic number 3, look to see who's appearing on podcasts already. To venture outside of my own network, this is where I went next. And I did this at the same time, by the way. You don't have to go to this step once you've exhausted your entire personal network. I'm doing this kind of ongoing, all at the same time. So when listening to other podcasts, if I find that this guest would be a great person on my show, I'll send an invitation. It works. I landed Tony Horton this way. He's the most successful workout infomercial guy of P90X fame. And that was a total head trip. I was used to him telling me to do your best and forget the rest while I was doing jumping jacks down here in my basement. In that case, my brother heard Tony on a podcast, told me about it, and I went to TonyHortonLife.com, sent a message on the contact page, and I would say within a week, I had a date booked on my calendar and was interviewing Tony. It was pretty crazy. Like I said, you never know where you're going to get the yes, and sometimes it just happens super quickly. ListenNotes.com and Podchaser.com can be very helpful resources. Listen Notes is a search engine for podcasts. Podchaser is the IMDb of podcasts. You can search for guests there. You can listen to shows. You can build playlists on both websites to help you organize and track target guests. You can also get notified when a specific guest appears on a podcast. I interviewed Jamie Metzl. He's the author of the book Hacking Darwin. I saw that he was on a bunch of podcasts, including Joe Rogan. After listening to a few shows, I went to Jamie's website and emailed him. A week later, I was in his New York City apartment recording an episode. Lucky for me, this was pre-COVID, but it just happened really quickly and easily in that case. Tactic number 4, if you want bigger names and celebrities, timing is everything. This may actually require you to be a polite stalker. Look for public figures who are promoting a new project like a book, movie, or TV show. BarnesandNoble.com is a fantastic resource. You can look up new releases and even better, the coming soon page. You can sort by subject, so business, biography, sport, music. And the important things to look for here are the release date for the book and the publisher. With about 1 to 3 months lead time, you can reach out to the publisher, who often helps with promotion of the new releases. In my experience, it helps to hit multiple places. You don't know where you're going to get the yes. You don't know where you're going to get the no's. I tend to reach out directly by going to a website or through social media accounts. You can reach out directly to the publisher. You're looking for like the promotions or publicity department. And then there are publicists and PR firms. For a celebrity, you might try to reach out to their agent. I think that's a long shot, but it never hurts to try. Be polite and concise. Explain your show, your audience, and why it's a good fit for that person to be on your show. I booked Ryan Serhant of Bravo's $1 Million Listing New York when his book Sell It Like Serhant was coming out. Getting a celebrity guest doesn't always move the needle on downloads, but for me, Ryan's episode is one of my most downloaded. I think that listeners recognize his name from TV. It's also the only episode that I think my wife listened to because we watched the show together. I tend to do a lot of research and prepare for interviews. When possible, I try to read the guest's book. I'm sure that you have your unique approach. Nobody can do you better than you, so lean into that. When interviewing a celebrity or author, I try to make it a point of being strategic, knowing what I want to cover in terms of what I think my audience wants to hear. It's even better if you can get the conversation off the prepared answers of their press junket or their promo tour. Just have good questions ready and be prepared. Tactic number 5, PR agents and podcast bookers. They can be great resources. For a long time, I ignored 98% of the email pitches that I got, and that was a mistake. Reply to some of those emails to specify what kind of guests fit your show. Tell bookers and publicists, thank you, but this isn't a good fit because of these reasons. Explain what types of guests and stories you're looking for. It saves time for everyone. I interviewed Katie Cassidy and Neve Schulman of Catfish because of cold email pitches sent to me. Don't be one and done. Send follow-ups when the episode is published. And I'm talking about if a show was booked through a podcast booker or a publicist, send feedback afterwards. Thank that person for helping make the interview happen. They're usually pretty hands-on the scheduling and monitoring the entire process. In the end, you can ask who else they work with and explore if there are other good guests. Another thing is to create a great guest experience. You want to be prepared, have thoughtful questions, establish a good rapport, kind of the secrets of having a good interview show. Don't forget to ask if your guest has friends to recommend for your show. Tony Horton actually recommended a guest during his interview. If you're familiar with P90X at all, there's Scotty Pfeiffer, the one-armed band man, I think was like one of the taglines. But Tony recommended Scotty to me during the interview, and after I stopped recording, I said, hey, Tony, you mentioned Scotty Pfeiffer. He has a nonprofit. Can you connect me with him? And he was like, absolutely. So I had another guest lined up. Mark Victor Hansen connected me with a couple of other guests. So always be looking for those warm introductions. They go a long way. You know, the cold emails are good and you get the no's, but the more warm introductions you can get, the more effective you can be. Number 6, my final tip to share with you today is to attend live events and record on site. Conferences are fantastic. You can invite keynote speakers, session speakers, other attendees at the conference. It just takes a mobile rig, a recorder, and some microphones. I've used an iPad-based recorder before, so it was super portable, super easy. Before going to a conference, I'll often email speakers and point them to a custom landing page just for that conference. And the booking link can let them select a day and a time. You can then email follow-up to figure out where you're going to record. Recording in person at an event gives you access to people that probably would be difficult to access otherwise. Use proximity to your advantage. Time is on your side too. Many public figures and speakers at conferences, they often figure, sure, I'm here, so I might as well do a podcast recording. I've done this at Podcast Movement, Inbound, FinCon, even a LinkedIn event. Not only did I land guests who would have been difficult to schedule otherwise, but it gives you the ability to record 5, 6, 7 interviews all in one shot. And for a weekly show, that's like a month or 2 of episodes, which is amazing. So I hope that these 6 tips put you on the right footing to book bigger guests. Thank you for attending. Now it's your turn. Get out there and invite great guests onto your podcast. Land your dream guest. To wrap up, 1, start with your circle of contacts. 2, use Podmatch. 3, reach out to guests of other podcasts. 4, use barnesandnoble.com to reach out to authors. 5, make friends with publicists and podcast bookers, but make sure you tell them your criteria. And 6, record at conferences and events. You can contact me at podcastjim.com. I'd love to hear from you. Email me your list of 10 guests that you'd like to land for your show. This is about accountability, and we're in this together. I think that we can all help each other. Message me and let me know how you're doing. Go out there, get 100 no's on your way to landing guests you didn't even think were possible. I know that you can do it. Good luck and thank you.